4:12 local time. The Strait of Hormuz, day 53. Right now, as you're watching this, 2 U.S. Navy destroyers are moving at a crawl through one of the narrowest, most dangerous stretches of water on the planet. The USS Michael Murphy, the USS Frank E. Peterson Jr., both Arleigh Burke class, both operating in waters that could turn hostile in seconds. 21 miles wide, 20% of the world's oil, 1 mile away from catastrophe. And here's what everyone gets wrong. Reopening the Strait of Hormuz isn't a job for more destroyers. It isn't a job for carrier strike groups. It isn't a job for more airstrikes on the Iranian coast. The answer comes down to one of the slowest, most dangerous missions in modern naval warfare: clearing mines from the water one by one, under the guns of an enemy that is still watching. Here's why. The Strait of Hormuz sits between Iran to the north and Oman and the UAE to the south. At its narrowest point, it is 21 miles wide. For context, that is roughly the distance from downtown Manhattan to the New Jersey Turnpike. But the actual navigable shipping lanes inside that gap are a fraction of that total width. 2 lanes, each 2 miles wide, separated by a 2-mile buffer zone. That is the corridor through which a fifth of the world's energy supply moves every single day. In recent years, approximately 20 million barrels of oil have transited the strait daily. 25% of all seaborne oil trade, 20% of the world's liquefied natural gas, all of it funneled through a gap you could drive across in under 30 minutes. And for 3 countries, Kuwait, Qatar, and Bahrain, the strait is not one of several options. It is the only maritime exit they have. No alternate route, no bypass, no workaround. When the strait closes, those countries are landlocked by water. Pipelines exist that could theoretically carry some of the Gulf's oil overland and around Iran's choke point. Combined, they can handle a fraction of the daily shortfall. There is no infrastructure on Earth that covers the gap. One corridor. 1/5 of the world's energy. A weapon that costs a few $1,000s to deploy. That is the math Iran is counting on, and that is what the U.S. Navy has to undo. Here's what makes the naval mine the most dangerous weapon in the Persian Gulf. It is cheap. It is invisible. It is patient. A modern mine can cost a few $1,000s to build. It can be laid in minutes. Once it is in the water, it does not need a crew, it does not need fuel, and it does not need orders. It just waits. Iran's arsenal is not one kind of mine. It is several, layered together. Contact mines that detonate on physical impact, moored mines anchored to the seabed by cables floating at depth where hulls pass overhead, bottom mines that rest on the seafloor in shallow water, and the most dangerous category, influence mines, which detect changes in their environment, sound, pressure, magnetic fields. They do not need to be touched. They sense a ship approaching and trigger themselves. The threat goes deeper. Modern influence mines can be programmed. Some ignore the first few vessels that pass overhead and detonate only on the 3rd or the 5th or the 10th. Some are tuned to specific signatures: the acoustic profile of a warship, the magnetic field of a tanker. They are not just reactive, they are selective. Deployment is just as asymmetric. Fast attack boats can lay them in minutes. Submarines can place them covertly. Shore-based positions can push them into channels under cover of darkness. They can be seeded faster than they can be cleared. This is the weapon that breaks every conventional response. You can sink every Iranian warship in the Persian Gulf, and the mines are still there. The threat is already in the water, waiting. Air power cannot clear them. Destroyers cannot outrun them. And until they are gone, the strait stays closed. The two destroyers leading the operation are the USS Michael Murphy and the USS Frank E. Peterson, Jr., both Arleigh Burke class. Some of the most advanced surface combatants ever built. These are not small ships. Roughly 510 feet long, displacing close to 9,000 tons fully loaded. Packed with Aegis radar systems, Tomahawk cruise missiles, SM-2 and SM-6 interceptors, anti-submarine weapons, and layered close-in defenses. A 5-inch naval gun on the bow, 25mm autocannons along the rails, crews trained for high-intensity warfare, air defense, missile interception, and anti-submarine operations across every ocean on Earth. They are among the most lethal warships afloat, and they are not built to clear mines. That is the gap. Their role in the Strait is not to hunt the weapons in the water. It is to protect the platforms that can. They operate as command ships, coordinating the mine-clearing effort across helicopters, drones, and specialized vessels. They provide air cover against Iranian drones and fast attack craft. They track surface, subsurface, and airborne threats in real time. They make sure the slower, more vulnerable mine-clearing assets can actually do their job without being overrun. Because make no mistake, those destroyers are not operating in open water. Iran has spent years watching U.S. naval movements in this region. Fast attack craft along the coast, one-way attack drones staged on the islands, coastal radar, surveillance boats. Every move the Michael Murphy and the Peterson make is being tracked from the shore and from the air. Picture the scene. A U.S. destroyer moving at a crawl through a channel that may be mined. Helicopters working the water overhead. Drones scanning the seabed below. Iranian forces watching from 15 miles of coastline with weapons pointed at every meter of the corridor. These ships can destroy anything in the Gulf that shows itself. They can shoot down missiles. They can sink warships. They can engage aircraft at the edge of the horizon. They cannot clear a single mine in front of them. That job belongs to someone else. Mine clearing is not one technique. It is 4, layered together, and every single one of them carries a cost. The first method is direct neutralization. A mine neutralization vehicle, a small, remotely operated underwater robot equipped with cameras and a shape charge, is launched into the water. It moves toward the target slowly. It identifies the mine. It places the explosive. It backs away. Then it detonates the charge from a safe distance. The advantage is precision, minimal collateral damage, controlled outcome. The cost is time. The vehicle moves slowly. The coordinating ship stays exposed in the channel for the entire operation. And at the rate a single vehicle can clear a single mine, Iran can reseed faster than the Navy can sweep. The second method is aerial countermeasures. The MH-53E Sea Dragon, a massive heavy-lift helicopter purpose-built for this mission, tows specialized gear through the water behind it. Sonar arrays, magnetic sleds, acoustic generators. These systems either detect mines or trigger them from a standoff distance. The advantage is speed. A helicopter covers miles of water in the time it takes a ship to move a few hundred yards. The cost is reliability. Sea conditions degrade accuracy. Equipment misses targets, and modern influence mines can be programmed to ignore the signatures a sweep emits. The third method is cable cutting. For moored mines anchored below the surface by cables, specialized gear is dragged through the water to sever the connection. The mine floats to the surface. Once visible, it is destroyed with machine guns, naval cannon fire, or controlled charges placed by divers. The advantage is proven reliability. It has worked for decades. The cost is scope. It only works on one category of mine. Modern minefields are built from several. The fourth method is signature simulation. For influence mines that react to ship profiles rather than physical contact, specialized equipment generates the acoustic, magnetic, or pressure signature of a passing vessel. The mine detonates harmlessly against a target that was never there. The advantage is efficiency. Large areas cleared quickly. The cost is unpredictability. Selective mines programmed to ignore the first several signatures simply wait. The channel reads as clear. It is not. 4 methods, each one engineered for a different threat, each one with a gap. And this is Iran's calculation. A layered minefield only needs one of those gaps to stay dangerous. One type of mine that resists one type of sweep. One program delay. One hidden signature. One mine in the wrong place is enough to close the strait for another week. 2 kinds of platforms carry the weight of the actual clearing operation. Neither of them is a destroyer. The first is the unmanned underwater vehicle. Compact, autonomous. Equipped with high-resolution sonar that maps the seabed in detail. Some are built to detect and identify. Others carry charges and can destroy a mine on contact. They operate for hours at a time without a crew. They can be launched from a support vessel, a helicopter, or a small boat. The advantage is distance. Every mine a UUV identifies is a mine a sailor does not have to approach. The cost is environment. The Strait of Hormuz is one of the noisiest, most congested waterways on the planet. Heavy maritime traffic, complex underwater terrain, signal interference from commercial shipping, coastal radar, and Iranian jammers. The same conditions that make the strait critical make the tools built to clear it less reliable. The second platform is the Avenger-class mine countermeasure ship, purpose-built. Non-magnetic hulls to avoid triggering influence mines, advanced sonar tuned to the seabed. The ability to deploy multiple drones and sweep systems simultaneously. Every design decision oriented toward one job. These are the ships that actually clear the mines. They are also slow, lightly armed, thinly protected. A single Iranian fast attack craft with anti-ship missiles could disable an Avenger in minutes. A swarm could sink one. This is where the destroyer's role snaps into focus. The USS Michael Murphy and the USS Frank E. Peterson Jr. are not there to clear the water. They are there to keep the Avengers alive while the Avengers clear it. The ships doing the actual work cannot defend themselves. That is why the destroyers are there. And that is why the operation cannot move without them. This is the scenario no one in the operation wants to see. A modern influence mine does not need to touch a ship to break it. It detonates beneath the hull. The explosion creates a massive gas bubble that rises through the water, lifts the vessel from below, and then collapses. The hull drops into the void left behind. The stress bends the ship. In some cases, it breaks it in half. A destroyer is built to survive that. Arleigh Burke-class hulls are reinforced. The interior is compartmentalized, so flooding in one section does not spread. Advanced firefighting systems are built into every deck. Damage control crews are among the most highly trained in the U.S. Navy. These ships are designed to take a hit and stay in the fight. But surviving is not walking away. A real mine strike against a destroyer could disable propulsion, flood multiple compartments, knock out power across entire decks. Start fires the crew has to fight while the ship is still in range of Iranian shore batteries. Force an evacuation under enemy observation. In the worst case, it could sink. And here is what that means in practice. The USS Michael Murphy and the USS Frank E. Peterson Jr. are operating in waters where that outcome is not theoretical. It is present. Every hour they are on station. Every minute they escort a sweep. A destroyer can survive a mine strike. The question is what it costs to find out. Pull the camera back. 2 destroyers. A handful of Avengers. Sea Dragon helicopters working the water. Unmanned vehicles scanning the seabed. Crews operating in one of the most sensitive waterways on the planet while the world waits for the ships to move again. And here is the truth the operation has been building toward. Naval dominance cannot reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Carrier groups cannot reopen it. Airstrikes on the Iranian coast cannot reopen it. The mines have to come out of the water, one by one, slowly, by robot, by helicopter, by sweep, by hand. Air power can destroy. Destroyers can protect. Only mine clearing can open the strait. Right now, 150 ships are sitting dead in the water, waiting for that work to finish. Their path home does not run through a missile strike or a show of force. It runs through the seabed.